heart attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Is this what they go through? Every single day? It's agonizing, it's horrible. Now I see why they act this way. Why people call them monsters. This hunger. Why won't it go away? I've eaten, and I've eaten. But sometimes I just still feel hungry. Shit. Am I becoming a binge eater? No. I'm a detective. But at the same time, I just wonder, why won't it stop? Now. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. Now, whenever we last left off with Midoriya, he has gotten things under control. For now. His blackouts seem to have stopped, and whatever is inside him is seemed to be fed. Its thirst quenched. Now, with that out of the way, over with Bakugo. She's gone through the surgery, and well, yeah. Her body tried to force out some food, or at least what it believed to be contaminants from something else, poisons. The doctors, yeah. They observed this roughly about 12 hours after she woke up after surgery. And well, it wasn't just that. They witnessed her body seemingly tried to be more in line with its mutations, or so they believe. It was more or less, she was simply hungry, and she asked for food. And they gave it to her. Now, Quink Squad members, or the humans implanted with Ghoul organs, I am fully aware that they can eat human food. However, the CCG has not made that aware to the Quink's Squad. They are only looking for powerful ghouls, powerful ones at their disposal, nothing holding them back. So, they kept this information. That is why, whenever I did bring this up, that the doctor said her last human meal. Yeah. They kind of only said that this is a one-way trip, basically. Since they don't know if they can turn her back. Now, she does actually stare down at this plate. And simply just look at it. Just gathering the courage to simply pick it up or even to move her hand forwards. Get closer to it was odd. However, there was also this strange feeling in her gut, in her body, to pick it up. It looked somewhat odd and gross, since she knew what it was. However, she did not eat, and the doctors noticed that roughly 8 hours later, she did still seem hungry. In fact, now she was actually eyeing that piece of meat, and starting to contemplate it more. Until she decided to just leave it alone, and go to bed. That piece of meat still staying there. They cooked it, however, yeah. She didn't really seem very appetized by it, even then. And she simply tried to stay away from it. Anything the CCG tried to do to make it even look a bit appetizing, yeah, not happening. Until She has gone roughly 4 days without eating, and she's actually cramping up. Her body and her stomach is just screaming out for something, as she feels like someone poured acid directly into her body, into her bloodstream. It feels like things are going dark, and there's nothing but white noise inside of her head. Something screaming hunger, 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 as if someone is just smashing on a door, and she's simply trying to scream on the other side. This being two sides of herself, fighting against each other. Until she does have to eat. She simply blacked out today, fell over from exhaustion, and the CCG had to make her eat the food. Simply, well, mushing it up a bit, and giving it to her while she was unconscious. That being the thing. The Quinks squad, they don't sit down and eat this meal. They don't consider it to be a meal. They simply consider it to be sustenance, something to eat. So they usually carry packets of it, or tubes of it, you could say. And anytime they need to, they will simply rip one open and quickly swallow it. Basically just jimmy it down their throat so they don't feel hungry. Now, Bakugo, she's learning about her abilities and going on missions, using her Quinke and testing out her new superhuman superhuman abilities, the way her body now works. She could simply be impaled by any piece of metal or object. However, they fired a gun at her, and the bullets ricocheted. In fact, that was quite odd. She had full confidence that they would pierce through her body, and her strength seems to be completely off the charts from what it was previously, as she does go out on missions. And she actually does begin to kill ghouls, kill more, and begin to work on the extermination project. The One-Eyed King has been gone, or dead. That is what they believe. And they're simply trying to wipe out the rest of his people. Bakugo simply losing hope. She thought for 1 minute. If the idea of Midoriya being dead is real, then she just condemned herself with a life sentence. Borrowed time. And yikes. This is not going to go well. As she spends the next 6 months somewhat working, testing out her new abilities, and anytime she believes she's done with them, trying to sign off on her superiors to get her stronger and stronger, since she's been going after higher ranking ghouls. Some of the ones that the CCG have been hesitant to send the doves after. Now, she is also ready, as today she is going after a one-eyed owl. They believe to be the older ghoul of the bunch. It has been 6 months, and she has changed quite a bit. The stress of her job and the way her life has been, along with the constant monitoring and everything she's had to do, yeah, it has not been fun. Especially whenever you consider the fact that she's had to throw away her own humanity, and her mother believes her to be dead. They simply state that she died attempting an operation, and her mother had to bury her daughter. Mitsuki had to go through a lot, and it hasn't been fun. As she simply encounters the school today, and sees him, as she releases her Kagune. The one in the back of her waist, that's exactly like Midoriya's first. Now, She has not gone through the Chimera operation yet. At least that's what the doctors call it. There is a thing called a true Chimera, and Midoriya is one. She does know about that. However, Midoriya is something else, since he does have three. They're trying to learn as much as they can from Inko's body. She knows that. The CCG does at least begin to trust her with some information. And that's a bad thing. As whenever she does encounter this owl tonight, he's simply gathering some things. He's gathering resources and information. That is what Yoshimura has been doing. And as soon as she does see him, he does actually turn around, revealing himself. And his full-on Kakucha. Her simply just staring at him for a minute. And looking a bit saddened. As she does actually ask the question, is the One-Eyed King alive? Yoshimura, he's somewhat aware as to who this is. The young woman, her face looks familiar. And it's a bit odd. Him thinking that she may have been one of the Ghoul customers. But she's human, clearly. One eye, not a Ghoul. Something else. As the CCG move in and begin to try and take on the One-Eyed Owl. At least this one. If they can take out one of the three owls, then they already begin to have an upper hand. Especially because one being considered a Z class. Now, in this fight, quite a lot of things do happen. You have the fact that, during the battle, Yoshimura begins to get overpowered by not only CCG but Quink's squad members. And he does have to fight for his life. He might be old, but he can still kick ass. He battled against everyone, and was able to actually manipulate his Kakuja. He simply threw them all around, as if they were nothing but what was it? I guess the best way you can say it is, anytime someone tried to attack him, he could shatter them like glass. He does not hold back. He goes completely 100% out. The life he has built with his daughter, it is one that he is not going to give up. She finally trusts him. He has memories with her. And every day he does receive the resemblance of her mother in her, living on. Something that he can't really do. It's been bad, but he's been able to begin to get over it. The pain of losing the woman he loved. She was his entire world. As he finally smashes through one of the other Quink Squad members. And simply does one single thing. As Bakugo, she somewhat is defeated. She simply just stands there, her Quinks in one hand. Or her Quinke, my bad. And, well, her left hand igniting with explosions. And her Kagune. As it is three. 3 single tendrils. And she begins to rush forwards, trying to slash away at the man and trying to attack him, simply yelling about the One-Eyed King, going on a rampage about it. She has been trying to find him because of one single reason. Yoshimura seemingly getting annoyed, before he strikes his hands downwards and directly smashes into this woman's left shoulder, and breaks her left arm. Her explosions are out for the count. Her suddenly using her Quinke and slashing upwards with a powerful strike, as explosions do go off. and her blade shoots off directly towards him, and it tries to slash into his chest. As soon as he saw the projectile flying, he threw up his arms to block, and immediately the thing began to slice into and actually cut into his right arm. It cut straight through his armor and directly into his right arm, then into his left arm, and digging into the bottom of his torso, into his stomach. The amount of force that girl sent flying at him would have killed him if he did not block, as his right arm falls onto the ground. And she does try and rush forwards to attack him. She's the only one left alive. Yoshimura grabbing his hand outwards and picking her up by her throat, simply smashing her down and yelling at her. Yelling at her that Izuku Midoriya is dead, and that if she is trying to find him, as his mask deforms. Simply saying that that boy has turned into something else. That boy is nothing but a merciless killer. Before he does watch tears stream down her eyes. The reveal. He's alive. As she begins to cry out. And speak his name. Izuku, Izuku, Izuku. As she is in tears. Yoshimura, he's beginning to at least recognize her. Up close. Her hair used to be shorter, and he mistook her for a male. A man, once. Him simply asking her if she knew Inko Midoriya, if she came by his cafe one day. Her simply just acknowledging this, and simply stating that she is in love with him. He made her feel like an actual girl. He made her feel pretty. She's been hiding something from herself for a very long time. And whenever everyone found out, they simply threw her to the wind. Nobody wanted her. Even after everything that's happened at UA. They simply threw her to the CCG. As she begins to recap it. There is time before the CCG does arrive. And, well, she begins to state what happened. As we cut back to 5 years ago. Roughly almost 6. To a prison cell. She is simply standing there, and Class 1A is trying to get an explanation. She is in bed with the ghouls. The One-Eyed King, Izuku Midoriya, is her best friend. Endeavor saw him at the sports festival, but with green hair. And even the CCG men once said that he saw this woman with another person. A man who somewhat matched the description Endeavor gave. So, not only was she apparently involved in getting information that may have led to a prison break-in and break-out, but possibly lead to what is currently happening. The ghouls trying to take over. Now, she has these alleged things on her record. And she does have to try and talk with everyone. Kirishima, he's more or less surprised. Well, Denki owes Mineta $50. Now, with that being said, time for UA does pass. And eventually, what was his name? Overhaul stuff does happen. Wow, I actually forgot his name. Wow. Okay. Anyways, I'm actually surprised by that. Now, with that being said, Overhaul did try experimentation on Eri. However, it was different. he wasn't experimenting to see what happens whenever humans have a weird ability that can take away quirks. He was also experimenting to see what her other side can do. Eri's other abilities. Whenever the heroes found her and took her in, they didn't fully understand what she was. And the CCG was called in. Eri was unique. In fact, you could say one of a kind, since she was a half ghoul, born with a quirk. Now, with that being said, after everything with Overhaul and the League of Villains, UA, they tried to take custody of Eri. However, her being a ghoul, yeah, that did not work out very well. The Hero Association had to turn her over and cover up what the child's quirk was, simply stating that she had an unknown ability, and she was taken to a CCG hospital inside of a prison, deep, deep underground. Something hidden away that only someone with high enough clearance could access and find. Now, with that being said, they are studying her, and she was actually one of the driving forces for possible weaponized hybrids. Since she's a natural born one, studying her anatomy will unlock some secrets. They do have to give her flesh, though. That was something they found odd, and that was their theory for the Queen's squad, since she did show physical improvements on her condition. Now, this is all a lot to take in. And, well, simply hearing about it would be odd. However, Bakugo does not know this information. She simply knows that they covered up something in the Overhaul incident 3 years ago, almost 4. That they had something to do with ghouls and humans. Simply stating that the girl's quirk was odd and strange. That is as much as she knows from the CCG. She doesn't have high enough clearance. As Yoshimura simply lets her go, and she stands on her feet, confused for a minute, as he cocks back his right hand, and it regenerates, him simply socking her in the gut before sending her flying into a shipping container. Her smashing into it as her body, she hits straight through it, punching a hole and denting it, and flying through it. As more doves and detectives are already inside, and they saw her fly through the second container. And well, the one-eyed owl goes into retreat mode, and they go to make sure their people are alive. Bakugo, she was completely knocked unconscious with that second punch. The first one almost made her lose her lunch, while being sent flying into a container and punching through another one was very, very tough, especially since they had to dig her out of it by using the Quincase to break through the metal. Now, with that being said, I do believe that does at least, give you guys a bit more information about what happened with UA. And insert someone screaming here, since I know this information is probably very weird to some of you. Since, hey, I brought up in probably part 0 or part 1, I wasn't giving Hasashi his fire-breathing quirk. Because if ghouls had quirks, they would seem more human. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed.